and welcome to another 3-string alternate tuning cigar box guitar lesson. So previous few videos have been looking at G major tuning. This is G minor. Now it's very closely related. In fact, I have exactly the same strings on that I have had on for the previous few lessons where we're looking at Ziggy Stardust, Stuck in the Middle, classics like that. And all that's happening is, instead of being in G, D, B tuning, which gives you a major chord, compared to our standard G, D, G, which gives us the power chord, which I imagine you're used to, this is G, D, B flat. And the B flat is just the equivalent of a single fret lower than the B, which we've been in previously, and that gives us a minor chord. Let's have a quick look at that. Okay, so here is a trusty clip-on tuner, and I'm in G, D, B tuning here. So that's back to the previous G major tuning. Okay, so all I'm going to do is take the peg for string 1 and I'm going to drop it down by the equivalent of 1 fret. Now that says A sharp, so I'm showing you this on the tuner because A sharp is in fact exactly the same note as B flat, and that means that I've dropped this top string down by the equivalent of one fret, one step lower than B, and it's B flat, and that's G minor tuning basically. And hopefully the intro demo song needs no introduction. It is of course House of the Rising Sun. The version that I think we probably know the best is the Animals version from the late 60s, mid 60s, but it is originally a folk tune. It was recorded by Leadbelly on, I do believe it was the Lomax Libraries of Congress recordings, but also it was taken and adapted and the chord sequence changed by Dave Van Ronk, who was one of the Greenwich Village players from the early 60s. Dylan recorded it on his first album, I believe, and then there's the Animals version from there. And so that's what we're going to be looking at today, and we're going to be in G minor tuning. If you're interested, you can download a completely free song chart from the website up there or in the text description. And it's basically quite an easy song. It's a long cycle. It's 22 bars, which sounds like a slightly funny length, but it completely works when you put it alongside the vocals, the lyrics. But the good thing about it is, once you can play it, then you can basically just repeat it for as many times as you want to go around until you finished all the lyrics, and that's the song. So let's get straight on with having a look at House of the Rising Sun. But back in G major tuning, here's a quick recap of what some of the different chord shapes look like, so we can see how we can adapt them for the new G minor tuning. So bar, so hopefully you can bar. If not, I'll put a link to an earlier classic T-Rex song for a bit more detailed technique on that. If I bar at fret 5, that is a major chord. That happens to be a C, with the bass note, or what you call the root note, being on the low G string, the 3rd string. If I want to turn that into a minor, then I'm going to knock this top string down a fret. Okay, so that's fret 4, and instead of just covering all 3 strings at fret 5, I'm now fret 4 and then fret 5 on these 2. Alright, so that's now C minor, C major, C minor. Whereas in G minor tuning, this straight bar across all the strings, that now is a C minor chord. Okay, so just clamping, barring across all 3 gives me a C minor at fret 5. So if I want to turn that back into a major, I need to step up by 1 fret on this top string. So that, fret 5, fret 5, fret 6, that's a C major chord now. And back in G major tuning, If I was to take what we call the root note, so the strongest sounding note from the chord, and find it on the middle string, so fret 5, I'm going for a G this time, so fret 5 is a G, and this is, I mean, that's a G chord, but this is an alternate way that I can play the G, so I can go for fret 5, sorry, on the middle string, fret 3 on string 1, the high B string, and fret 4 on the low G, the low 3rd string. And if I want to turn that into a minor chord, this note here is the one that's making it sound like a major chord, so I need to move that down by 1 fret. So what I'm going to do is keep this one where it is and do a bar across all of the strings. So I've got fret 3 on strings 1 and 3, and then fret 5 on the middle string, and that is a G minor chord, G major, G minor. Whereas in G minor tuning, if I go for this root note here on the 5th fret of the 2nd string, I can't use that same shape. I've got to reposition this note a fret higher. So the chord is now going to be fret 4, fret 5, fret 4, and that with the root note on the middle string, that's a G chord, a G major chord. So it's just like a little triangle shape. This is still the note that makes it a minor, a major or a minor. So if I drop it down by a fret, then that becomes a G minor. G minor, another version of G minor. And back in G major tuning, if I go for the root note, so I'm still going for a G chord here. If I go for the root note on string 1, I need to hit fret 8, and that's the root. I need to go for fret 9 and fret 7. So that's an alternate way of playing G major, 8, 9, 7. And again, if I want to turn it into a minor chord, I've got to find the note that makes it a major, which is this one, and knock it down 1 fret. So I end up on frets 8, 8, 7, minor, major. Whereas in G minor tuning, I can't use this shape anymore because I've made string 1 the equivalent of 1 fret lower, so I need to move this note up. So instead of fret 8 is no longer G, fret 9 is now a G note. So I can still use the other 2 notes from the previous shape, but now I'm on 9, 9 and 7. That gives me a G major chord with the root note on string 1. This is still the note that makes it a major chord, so if I knock it down by a fret, I get a minor, major, minor. So the minor in G minor tuning would be 9, 8, 7. So there's an open G minor and or 7, 8, 9. There's a high version. So I hope those chord shapes aren't too confusing for you. Basically, you just need to find a particular root note on any string, and then you can go back and revisit that particular chapter of the video and see which shape you want to select to play either a major or a minor chord. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in House of the Rising Sun. We're just going to be using some different shapes to play a fantastic chord sequence. The original song was in A minor, so you can completely learn all of this. We're going to be doing it in G minor because that's what we're tuned to, but you can capo up at fret 2 and then everything that we're learning just goes up 2 frets, and then you can completely play along with the original Animals recording, and that will work perfectly. But let's get straight on in G minor. So there is a G minor. I'm going to go over the chords and we'll do the picking second. So straight after that we want to go to fret 3, and again check out the T-Rex video if you want any help with barring, but it's a bar at fret 3, but I want it to be a major, so I'm going to add in that second finger on fret 4. Okay, now that's a B flat, So that's a B flat major. And then I want to go up to fret 5, and I want that to be a C major, so I'm going to use the same bar at fret 5 and then the extra finger, second finger, at fret 6. And that is a C. And then I want to go to this shape here. Now the root note is on string 1 here, so this is fret 5, and fret 3 in the bass. And that is an E flat. And then I go back to G minor, which is the open strings, and I go back to B flat, which is the bar at fret 3, that note on fret 4. And then one more chord, I'm going up to fret 7 and I'm going for the major shape, so that is bar at fret 7 and then fret 8 with finger 2. That is a D. And just to mix it up in the demo, I was actually playing a D down here as well. So if I said that E flat was fret 3, fret 5, fret 5, then D is just one step lower. So it's fret 2, fret 4, fret 4. So that's a D with the root note on string 1. Okay, that's it. That's the chords. Okay, so I would say once you can change between the chords, it's relatively easy this. I would definitely recommend going and getting that song chart just so you can follow it. But I'm going to strum through just the basic cycle. Okay, now the time signature of this is what we call 6/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now it's a triplet rhythm, and so it's got two strong beats. So I'm just going to strum twice for each chord basically. So it's G minor, next chord is B flat, then C, so that's fret 3, it's fret 5, F, and then back to G minor, back to B flat at fret 3, right up to fret 7. Now we're on this for 2 bars, so I'm actually going to do 4 strums there. G minor, open strings again, B flat fret 3 with that extra note added, C fret 5 with the extra note added, F, that shape, frets 3, 3, 5, 3, and then back to open, back to D, and then at this point the singing stopped, and then the instrumental, the band just sort of continues for the rest of the cycle, which goes back to G minor, and then it goes to B flat again, basically just repeats the cycle, goes up to C, and then it goes to F, and then it goes to G, but slightly different at the end. We go to D, and then we go to open, G minor, and then back to D, and then we start again with verse 2 of the lyrics. Now, if you're a beginner, I would recommend just doing that to start with. Just strum and change chords. Don't add in the picking straight away. And I probably wouldn't consider doing any of the varied extra D down here either. But if you've been playing for a bit longer, you know, wherever there's a D, you can select. You know, because we're on D for twice as long in the middle, and at the end you've got G minor. You can play the D down there. G minor, play the D up here, just for a bit of variation, just before the whole thing repeats. And a beginner picking version, slightly different to what I was doing in the demo, which I'll cover in a moment. 6 notes per chord, so I'm going to go like this. I'm going to play strings 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. When you're picking from chords, it's quite good to rest your pinky finger. So quite often you have humbuckers on these cigar box guitars. So if you just find the corner of the pickup, just because they're a bit wider, and that's a good reference point. You can just keep keep your little finger resting there all the time, because you want to play without looking at that hand basically. So it's 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. Just keep that picking going for every single chord. Now each of those pick notes are the same length, so it's going to actually make it a little bit tricky. You know, so some of those changes are going to be quite difficult to completely play and keep the pulse going without pausing in between changes. So that's probably a good pattern to use to start with. Also, you could consider going down twice, up twice, and then down, up. So you're picking in the direction of the next string each time. And if you go back and have a quick look at that basic mapped out 2 strums per bar chord cycle that I just did, and also use the song chart, you can try that. Now if you want to do the full picking pattern like what I was doing in the demo, it's basically try to make it sound pretty similar to the Animals version. So there's a bit of a rake in it where you sort of like do a down strum sort of quicker than the rest of the single note picks. So you can start with string 3, do a rake through all of them, and then do 3 up picks, down, and that's just going to keep going through all of the chords in exactly the same sequence. So it's and so on. Now, because the rhythm's continuous, you know, you're picking constantly. Like I said, the coordination, it might be quite difficult. So what you want to do is always lead with the bass note. So it's the bar for most of them. You know, you lead with the bar, and that one, you know, we've got a note at the beginning, so that we can get that one on later. When we're on this shape here for, say, the E flat, the first finger wants to dive on first, and then we can put these ones on afterwards, because, you know, as I'm sure you can probably hear when you listen to songs like this one, you've got a constant pulse running all the way through, so you want to make sure that you're not having to pause and like freeze the song while you get the next chord on. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and hope that's fun to play, and watch this space, because we'll be back with another classic in this G minor tuning, and it's going to be a Dire Straits song this time. So we will look forward to seeing you here again very soon on Chord Guitar.